All right, well, it's the bottom of the fourth or the top of the ninth or whatever fucking sports analogy you want to use. Last fucking hurrah, Hail Mary, here we go. Morning of day 8, just hiked in, crossed my first river. We're going in deep. We got 3 days left. Today, tomorrow, and the next day. I gotta be out by that night. Now, if I did get something on the afternoon of day 3, I do have a 4th day that I could spend packing, but I should be on the road Thursday night. So, we're going in deep, just like I've said multiple times. I'm trying to get at least 12 miles down this horse trail today, and then up and into the mountains another 3-4 miles from there. It's aggressive. I don't know if I'll make it that far, but I'm gonna do everything I can. It's still very early in the morning, so I should have lots of time. I'm gonna bugle as I go, but the ultimate priority today is just cover ground and get in deep, because everything within 5 miles of a road has been dead so far. So this is the only strategy I have left. So I'm going all in, and I'm solo. Dylan's back in the hotel, but I can in-reach him if there's an emergency, and I'm gonna in-reach him on my way out so he can pick me up at the trailhead. All right, let's fucking go. All right, we just got our first bugle. It is 9:20 in the morning, which is funny because we've never heard a bugle before 9:15 or 9:20 this whole trip, and most of the bugles have been between 10 and 11. So I'm 5 miles in so far. Now it came from way off. I could just barely hear it, but it was definitely a bugle, and it's actually coming from the general direction of where I was thinking about camping tonight. There's 2 spots I might go to. So that's great news. I'm not gonna get too excited yet, but it definitely, it's good. It's good. All right, just stopped to have a bite of lunch. Day's been going pretty good. The first 7 miles in was a breeze. Crushed it in like a couple hours. And then I hit this section where the trail literally just kept going back and forth across this gigantic river. Took me maybe another hour and a half to do the next mile. Like, it took the waders on and off probably 15 times. I think on my way back I can make it simpler. It's a horse trail, so there was this kind of schnarby stuff that I can probably walk through that the horses couldn't get through. That'll probably save me some time on the way back. But like I said earlier, I've got the 1 bugle so far, and because I've been right beside such a major river, there's been no point in blasting any location bugles because I can't hear anything but the river anyways. I'm fairly certain the trail is gonna start to diverge away from the river here, so I should be able to start bugling again. And I'm pretty deep now. Like, I'm feeling pretty confident that there's gonna be some action back here. There's been lots of tracks down at the water. Lots of fairly sizable bear tracks as well, which is a little disconcerting, but I mean, that's what you get when you come to places like this. So yeah, day's going pretty good. It's only noon now. I'd like to push hard for another 4 hours, and then hopefully get to some place where I can have an evening hunt and look for a place to set up camp. We've got elk, boys and girls. I finally broke out into an opening, and there was this bare patch of ground, and I thought, I should just glass up there. Literally lifted my binoculars up, started looking into a canyon, and there's a cow elk just walking across. And this time of year, there's no way there's a cow elk by herself. So I bet you, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon right now, I bet you there's a bull with some more cows bedded right in that canyon. I'm just gonna go make my way over there and see what kind of trouble we can get into. 8 days on this hunt, and that's the first actual elk I've laid my eyes on. Big win. So that's the canyon right there. And right about there is where I saw the elk crossing across. All right, I hiked back into the foot of the slope that I saw the cow elk on. I'll show you where I saw her. Right there. So I can't see her anymore. I just did a location bugle, but I didn't hear anything back. But it's 1:30 in the afternoon. So I think I'm just gonna slow play this because it's very possible there's elk bedded up there. It's perfect bedding time for them. They're gonna be in that shade, in that little thicket of timber up the top, and they might work their way down after they wake up. So I'm just gonna get someplace where I can keep an eye on that slope, and I'm just gonna chill out until later this afternoon. Okay, slight change of plans. I was originally gonna camp down at the bottom tonight, hoping to hear any like nighttime bugling going on this hill. I've changed my mind for a couple of reasons. One, the river's really close, and I think it might impede my ability to hear any bugling. Two, if I do hear any bugling, I'm better off to play them from the top down instead of bottom up, and I'd have to waste all morning getting up there if I do hear bugles tonight. So using the topo, I think I've plotted a fairly reasonable way to the top. It's a pretty aggressive hill. There's nothing I can do about it, but I'm just gonna make a go for it anyways. So game plan is, and if I find a nice camping spot halfway, there's a couple of benches that look kind of flat, I might just camp midway and then bust the rest of the way to the top. Tomorrow morning, we'll kind of play that one by ear and see how it goes. But anyways, that's the game plan now. So I sat down here till 4:30. I'm gonna location bugle one more time. I still haven't heard anything. I've been glassing this hill for the last 2-3 hours. Haven't seen any more elk. So I think they could have ducked into the timber or gone up and over to the other side. So we're gonna make a break for the top. Okay, about halfway up, I just want to share a little pro tip. Sometimes you're walking along what feels like a game trail, but it's like a little too good to be a game trail. If you see something like this, and on the exact opposite side of the tree, you see something like this. Those are super old blazes. They're not rubs. And so years ago, like based on the depth of those, like 10, 15 years even, this was an actual trail for something. It might have only just been used a couple times, but they put blazes on both sides of the trees so you can see the trail where the trail is no matter which way you're going. So if you're lucky enough to find something like that, the odds are the trail is going to take you probably where you want to go, because whoever was here last probably wanted to go to the same spot. It's probably a decent route to the top. And the nice thing, the reason it can give you a bit of confidence is that game trails tend to like fade in and out. You'll be on a good one and then it just disappears and you're kind of in the middle of nowhere and you got to bushwhack until you find another one. If you can find one of these kind of more stable trails and it's got anything like these blazes, odds are it's going to last for quite a while or it's going to go somewhere meaningful. And even if it's not going exactly where I want to go, I follow it anyways, because who knows, maybe they know better than I did. So, pro tip for the day. Made it to the top. That was pretty terrible. About a mile and a half, climbed 2,000 vertical feet. Oh, it's so quiet up here. I came up a really bad route, so I saw zero sign on the way up here. I just found my first kind of game trail. I'm gonna walk it out to a clearing. I'd like to set up camp sometime within the next half an hour, 40 minutes, so I at least got a little bit of light to set the tarp up. Whew, man. Fuck, that took it out of me. All right, a little bit more to go. And that is how you set up a mega tarp when you don't have any tent pegs because you left them at the fucking hotel lawn where you dried out the tent last night. So I went around and snapped 15 branches that had little crooks in them so I could pop them all around. It's not supposed to be windy tonight, so it should be okay. Been a long day. I'm kind of done. I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of hitting a bit of a wall. I'm finding this solo hunt really psychologically challenging. I don't know if it's the weather or the terrain or the fact that I had a hunting partner and now I don't, but yeah, I'm really fighting it. Like, feeling lonely more often than normal, anxious more often than normal, thinking about my daughter more often than normal. And it's funny because these all feel like very rational things to be concerned about. And I just keep reminding myself, it's just my head fucking with me, trying to convince me to turn around and go sleep in a nice warm bed instead of out here in a tarp I put up with broken sticks because I don't have any tent poles. And there's no water, so I had to go around and freeze my hands and melt snow. And all these things are just kind of combining on top of each other. I'm not complaining. I'm trying to be transparent with what the psychology of being out here alone is actually like, because I think people tend to romanticize it, and there's a lot of really shitty parts to this, and I just wanted to be upfront about this because it's not all sunshine and rainbows and lollipops and unicorns, and it's lonely nights in a tent when you're kind of scared and on top of a mountain and hope a fucking bear doesn't eat you and all kinds of other shit running through your head. Anyways, that's where I'm at, and that's all I got. And those are officially frozen boots. All right, welcome to the morning of day 9. Left camp about an hour ago. And if you remember yesterday, I pointed at the top of like a brownish hill where I saw a cow. Where I'm standing right now is on the top of that hill about 200 yards above where I saw that cow. I've been location bugling my way since I left camp. I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen any fresh sign. There was snow a few days ago. I don't see any tracks in the snow. But it's not particularly welcoming up on top here. So I'm not terribly surprised. So I'm on a very large ridge, like probably a mile long and 200-300 yards across the flat at the top. And basically my game plan is to zigzag across this ridge, working my way to the peak and then bugling down into the canyons on either side, just trying to cover as much ground as possible and see if I can turn something up. So something else that's been kind of interesting on this trip is that I've not come across a single wallow until right now. And maybe because there's just so much moisture up here, they don't make wallows, or I just haven't been able to find them. I'm not sure what the answer is, but one of my tactics, because we were here slightly early rut was to sit wallows, but because I couldn't find any wallows, there was nothing to sit. So this I just found, and this is basically the closest thing to a wallow I found all trip. I don't think this is worth sitting. It doesn't look like it's been used like super recently. And because it's so cold, it's basically frozen anyways. So I don't think they're going to be able to roll in it and get the scent on them like they want to. But I'm going to have a look around and see if I can find a major thoroughfare coming in or out of here. At least give me a tip on which way I should head next. So I've been hiking all morning. I've been seeing decent sign, but I haven't heard a bugle. I wouldn't say I've been down, but I haven't exactly been ecstatic either. Just kind of like doing the grind, you know, in an okay spot. And then I come out of the bush into this just awe-inspiring landscape. Like the size of it all back here is just wild. I gotta share this. Okay, so here's the general game plan for likely the rest of the day, unless something pops up that causes things to shift in a significant way. I'll walk down this ridge up over here. Sorry, lost focus. Along back there, behind there, dip, come up. Then we're gonna come down in here, and I'm gonna dump off the back side of that far ridge over there. And there's 2 big basins in there that I wanna hunt tomorrow, and then I can push out through the bush, hopefully back to A road, theoretically. This seems to happen to me almost every single hunting trip, and I can't figure out if it's dehydration, altitude, or just pure overexertion, but I got a bloody nose again. Like I'm just walking along and it just starts fucking spraying blood everywhere. So I just stopped for lunch. I'm about maybe a third of my way around this big kind of ridge line I'm taking to get over into those far basins that I want to. But everything got pretty wet last night. 12 to 2 is pretty slow elk hunting. So I laid everything out. I'm going to dry it all out. And there's like a little tucked away north facing slope just over there that's full of snow. So I haven't had any water all day because I'm up so high there's no creeks. And the map kept showing these little divots with water, but every time I get there, they're dry. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, but it's time to get some water. So I'm going to walk over there, melt a shitload of snow, fill up all of my containers, eat a shitload of food, rest up a little bit, and then fucking keep giving her. So this is very interesting and semi-disheartening at the same time. I've just come along a really well-worn trail, and as soon as I hit it, I'm like, this feels like a horse trail. And then I came along and I found pretty fresh horse shit. And I'm wondering, see, the thing is, there's a major trail down at the bottom, and I didn't know there was another way to get up here. So it's possible that before I got here, some horse hunters have actually come up the back. And if they were up here hunting for a day or two and smoked one, that would totally explain why it's a ghost town up here, yet I'm finding, relatively fresh sign all over the place. I mean, them's the breaks. Them's the breaks. Everybody, public land. Everybody's got a right to come up here. Anyways, I'm going to take a gander and see where this horse trail goes. caribou were just 20 yards away. I have a third one about 80 yards below me. In this unit, it's a 5-point bull, and they're all spikes and rags, like 2-3 points max. They're super close to me though. Yeah, they're getting up on top of me and looking, they're getting up on top of me and looking down at me right now. Could have taken one for sure if they were legal. That was sick. Okay, nothing got shot, but I just got to within 95 yards of a very large caribou bull. Now, a couple things. I probably could have been more aggressive, but I've never had to qualify a legal caribou bull before. So I actually wanted to take a minute and I wasn't expecting to come across a fucking mountain caribou. So I had to take a minute, open the regs, wanted to be really sure I knew what I was doing, and it needed 5 points beyond the last rear point, and it had 6 on one side. Oh man, that thing was so rad. Just as I put my backpack on, because I could see the 3 little bulls, and just as I put my backpack on, all of a sudden I seen these 2 big antlers come trotting through and I was like, holy shit. Dropped my pack, kind of tried to make a play. Like I said, I got to within 95. It was the best I could do. Now they're heading in the same direction I'm heading, so I'm going to keep on the sneak dip all the way to this saddle that I'm trying to hit. Who knows, man? The wind was blowing just right too. They kept looking up at me, but because they couldn't smell me, they just continued along their way. So if they bed down up there or do something, you never know, I might get another chance. Highlight of the trip thus far, 100%. So here's exactly what happened. I put my backpack on right here and I went to start walking. And then here's what happened. I noticed the big guy right here. So I dropped my pack here, crept along here, down here, and then down like this. And they kept walking through here. And they passed right through here. That's when I had them at 95. But then they just kept going that direction. And they kept going at a pretty good clip. Like there was no way I was going to catch up with them. But you can tell, hard to put a stalk because you just have these little conifer patches. And everything is crunchy as hell because all the leaves are dead. So it is what it is. I tried my best. These are the times I wish I was a rifle hunter. There would be one dead caribou on that side of that hill. Man! So I crested the saddle and they're still up there, and I realized now he's playing 2 grab ass with 2 female caribou. And that was really the frustration. That was what happened there. Like, I think I may have been too aggressive at one point in particular, but then I realized he was just bounding around following the other 2 female caribou, and he just wouldn't stay still. Again, it was like 87, 92 yards, a good 30 yards further than I'm comfortable. 65 yards is where I draw the line. Yeah, he just wouldn't stay still. Funny thing is, I'm heading the same way they're heading, so who knows? Maybe I'll get another chance. Pick up the phone. All right, that's the end of day 9. Other than the 2 encounters with the caribou bull, no elk. I think I might just be too far back. I don't know, man. I did the best I could. I just kept looking for sign and kept trying to cover as much ground as possible. So essentially I have 1 full day to get my ass out of here, and I'm gonna come out at a much different spot than I went in. And it's just the way it is. So I've done my best to set up my tent. I'm kind of on the side of a mountain and tent's a bit cockeyed, but fuck it. I'm tired and I'm hungry and I'm thirsty. So I'm gonna melt some more snow, drink a shitload of water, eat some food, and pass out, wake up and give her one last college try tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's day 10 and that's it, man. Once I get picked up at the road, it's all over. So another day in the books. All right, it's the last day. Got one more day to make this happen. Now I've planned what I hope is the best route to get out. That's a combination of the most manageable to traverse while also allowing me to see the highest likelihood terrain of holding elk. So I'm going through 3 separate basins. So I'm kind of taking this large zigzag to get out, hopefully riding these ridge tops on the way down. I haven't seen any more sign of the caribou that I seen last night. I think they're up and over that way and perhaps on the back side of this. But with this terrain, it's just not worth going to have a look, because even if I find them, the odds of being able to close a stalk are next to minimal. So yeah, this is it. Give her one last go. All right, I'm about 45 minutes into my walk and things aren't looking too bad. I'm finding maybe like 3-4 day old sign, lots of elk droppings. Now here's something interesting. I don't actually know the difference between elk droppings and caribou droppings because I've never been in mountain caribou country before. Now I am seeing 2 distinctly different types of droppings. One looks closer to a moose dropping, like it's oval the whole way around and it's not dimpled on one side like elk droppings tend to be, and it looks much drier and firmer. And then I'm seeing the typical elk droppings look a little wetter, a little squishier, and they're dimpled. They almost look like a milk dud. So I'm assuming one is mountain caribou droppings and one is elk droppings. But a note to myself is when I get home, I need to study up more on some of the auxiliary species in some of the areas that I'm going to be hunting, so that my knowledge of animal behavior and their characteristics is a little bit tighter for situations like this, so I have a little more confidence in what I'm seeing. But it does look like elk headed this way a couple days ago. And one thing I've kind of mentioned tangentially is that it's an open rifle season right now. And so I'm also trying to think, where have the horseback rifle riders come in, you know, and where could they have shot elk, and where would that have pushed elk? And it makes sense that if they came in that main trail over there and started working this way, it would have pushed the elk even deeper this way. It's just a theory, but you never know. That was pretty sweet. I just stopped for a snack and a bit of water and decided I'd just sit here for 10 or 15 minutes in the quiet, because there's this big open basin below me and I'm trying to call down into it. Just 200 yards over there, this kind of movement caught my eye, and I look over, and it's just this big cow moose just lumbering across the saddle. Didn't even know I was here, just cruised up and over. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes because we're right on the cusp of when the moose rut might be starting up here, and it's very possible there's a bull somewhere down in there that's gonna follow her up and over. So we'll see. All right, it's time for the last push. Just finished up lunch. I got 4 miles between me and the road. I'm just going as hard as I can until I hit the road. There's really nothing else I can do. I'll keep bugling. Hopefully I hear something between now and then. Well, that's all she wrote, folks. I gave her all I had, and I fucking failed. And I've been thinking about that on the way out. And to be completely honest, one of my huge pet peeves these days, people go back in on these big hunts and they come out and they didn't put anything on the ground. And the first post or the first communication is, well, we didn't kill anything, but we still had a successful hunt. We saw some great country. We, strengthened the relationship with friends. The list goes on and on. Here's the deal though. If you only went in there to see some great country and hang out with good friends, why the fuck did you take a weapon and why the fuck did you buy a tag? I'm sick of it. Like, either you're half-assing it or you're not. Here's the deal. The ultimate priority of this trip for me was to put an elk on the ground. I failed to do that. It's okay. I can admit it. I'm not going to try and whitewash it with some horse shit about seeing some great country and having a fucking adventure. I failed. I wasn't good enough. Or the circumstances just weren't present to enable me to be successful. Either way, I didn't accomplish the goal that I set out for myself, and that's okay. It doesn't make me any less of a man. But I think in order to grow from our failures and in order to become the best that we can be, you have to acknowledge it and own it and be okay with it. So that's what it is. I have been successful 6 out of 6 of my last 6 hunts. 6 in a row. Haven't failed yet. And then boom, this one kicked me in the ass. And this was by far my toughest hunt yet. I mean, I haven't counted up how many miles I walked, but it's a lot. I busted my ass. And here's why I'm okay with failing. I would not be okay with failing if I quit. I did not quit. I did everything within my power to get this shit done. And I still failed. There's literally nothing else I could have done. Now, in the future, what else can I do? I've never claimed to be an expert hunter. I'm always growing as a hunter. So here's an opportunity for you guys. I'm all about constructive feedback, not some bullshit trolling, like actual constructive feedback. So if you're a seasoned veteran and you're watching this video and you saw something I did that was fucking stupid, or you see how I could be a better hunter, put it in the comments below or shoot me a DM. That's what this community is supposed to be all about. Anyways, I'm not gonna lie, I did have a great time and I did have an adventure, but I did fail, and it's okay to fail. So that's it. I'm out, fuckers. Until the next one.